Hello, and welcome back to Seen by Few with Nick and Lance.
Hi.
This episode is going to be an old school or new school, and we're going to be doing Battle Angel Alita versus Alita Battle Angel. Or the anime is also called Battle Angel, and it's also called Gunnm. So, take your pick of which one you want to call it. We'll probably be calling it Battle Angel. Unless that's hard, unless we start having trouble distinguishing it, then we'll start calling it Gunnm, because it's much easier to distinguish.
I've got all kind of questions, because you watched the subtitled version of it.
I did.
And I watched the dub version of it.
Yeah, but I think this was put out by ADV back in the day, and I watched it dubbed originally, and that's how I knew Battle Angel. And then, I was like, where can we find this to watch? Which we eventually found on YouTube. Someone had just put up, I guess technically it's an OAV. It's 2 episodes, but that's all there ever was. So it's up on YouTube. I think we found one that was just kind of both episodes together, but it was the dubbed version. I found someone who had separated them as 2 separate videos, and it was still in the original Japanese. And it's like, I've never seen the Japanese before. I'm just going to watch that version of it.
Yeah.
I think he up-resed it, so it didn't look amazing, but it looked slightly better for being on YouTube. So
What I watched looked bad.
yeah.
But
I think it was up. It's been up there for years.
Oh yeah. This one was one that was out when I was little. So
Well, I mean, up on YouTube for years. So it was back before they had. You could put out something that long and have it be a certain size or whatever.
Right.
Nowadays, YouTube's letting anyone put stuff up on YouTube.
Right. It's just an open fucking door. Anybody can walk into it.
I know, right?
But,
so I guess we will start off giving scores. I mean, I've got the manga here, but we're talking about the anime. I've not read enough of the manga to bring up much of it, but I figured this makes a nice prop, so let's bring it in. So we'll first rate Battle Angel. Lance, what did you think of Battle Angel Alita / Gunnm, the anime, on a scale from 0 to 10?
I think I would have enjoyed it more if I watched the subtitled version of it, because I usually like the Japanese voice acting better.
Yeah.
But I would give it. I'd give it a 5.
Oh, okay, that's close. Yeah, about 6 down here.
Okay. All right. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah.
All right. So Nick,
Yes.
what would you give Gunnm Battle Angel?
I've got it at about a 6 too. I got it at about a 6 for myself.
Okay, I was 1 off as well.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Because it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's decent.
It's pretty good, but it's definitely got holes and flaws where you can see where it's 2 episodes of something bigger.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like it's lacking stuff, and it's the fact that it's 2 30-minute episodes. A lot of it feels pretty cut and truncated, which we'll go into as we kind of talk about it.
Indeed, we will. All right. So Nick,
Yes.
Alita Battle Angel, the James Cameron version.
Yeah. It's Cameron produced, Robert Rodriguez directed.
Yes.
Cameron was so interwoven into the initial conception of it that it's being Cameron's Alita is kind of on.
What would you give it, 0 to 10?
It's going to be a 9.
A 9?
Yes, almost a 10. I love this movie. It's so fucking good.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
I would have thought. Okay, so I'll come clean. You have the manga, which made me think that you liked the cartoon more. So that swayed my guess.
So, well, I guess I'll ask you before I get into it, because it might be spoilery bitties. But what do you think of Alita Battle Angel?
I would give it a solid 8.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah. This movie was good.
This movie's fucking great.
And the internet robbed us of further movies. Because they fucking thrashed this movie. And I don't understand why, because it's fucking great. So, bad on you, internet. So
there was recently a talk on YouTube between Robert Rodriguez and Cameron. And I don't know how serious they were, but at the end of it, Cameron was like, so Alita 2, huh? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. So, maybe?
I'd love to see it.
Yeah. I mean, with how big of stretches there are between Avatar, we had Avatar, and then 15 years later, they're Avatar 2. So, it might be possible. And especially with, all you really need is, so I guess, spoilers, because I'm going to drop character names of who you might need for a sequel. So in a sequel, you would need Ito,
Okay.
You would need Alita,
Mm-hmm.
and you would need Nova.
Okay.
And that's it. And that's a much easier to sign on 3 people because, I mean, you're not bringing back Hugo. You're not bringing back Vector. You're not bringing back Siobhan. Or Sheeran. You're not bringing back Sheeran. You're not bringing back, what's the guy's, the Rorschach's name? That Gravishka.
Garishka.
You're not bringing him back. You're not bringing back any of... you might bring back some of Hugo's friends, but not like his main friend.
Mm.
He gone.
Yeah, he did.
I guess you could bring back Zapan in some of the hunters. You could bring back the dog dude.
Yeah.
But a lot of the hunters, they got crunched. Like the little screw head or whatever her name was, she got cut in half, and the bigger guy got like pulled. I think her name was Screwhead because she had that little
bolt in her head. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So I mean, and
yeah, you're right.
And with Rosa, how old she looks doesn't really matter. So if it looks like she's aged, 5 or 10 years, they're still going to be able to
CG it out.
Yeah. So I think it's less important if she air quote looks older because she's a computer generated character.
I think it's going to be harder to get Christopher Waltz and Edward Norton back for these movies.
Yeah, probably.
Because they've become much bigger actors now.
2019?
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Waltz was already pretty big.
Yeah, but like he's...
I mean, how much does Ito need to be in the next movie? Not a lot.
Yeah.
Because... So... In talking about the movie and why I would like something like this versus some other stuff we discussed where I've said it like ends in sequel bait, this one wraps up what it was doing and left the story open for more stuff to continue. So like her arc of being like growing up essentially finished. Ito's arc of like wanting a daughter again is finished. The arc with Hugo and all that stuff, it's finished. I mean, they wrap up a lot of stuff in this one movie that it feels like a story, but with more threads that you could fill it in and continue the story if you wanted to.
Yeah, but like they leave that thing wide open about Mars.
They do.
Like I want to know more about that. And that wasn't anything that I think they didn't even touch that in the cartoon. So it's like
we didn't get that far.
Yeah, so they added on like a lot of stuff. Like in the cartoon, you didn't get the motorball scene.
So from what I understand, the movie is volumes 1 through 4 of a 9-volume run.
Really?
So Motorball wasn't until volume 3 and 4. I think these ones had like gladiatorial stuff. It was just kind of like much more traditional because we saw that in Gunnm. It was like just 2 robot guys fighting.
Right.
So so it's got like the gladiatorial stuff, but Motorball doesn't come until volumes 3 and 4, and they kind of loop that into this story and Hugo's story and Sharin's story to kind of make it one bigger thing. I don't know much about the volume 1. I think I've read like this much of it. Because so what I like about the movie or whatever, what I like about this series is Alita. Everything else is kind of like, okay, cool, that's cool enough, I guess. But what I'm interested in is Alita as a character. So, I don't know. I've never had a huge interest in like delving into like 9 volumes, especially when like these things were like $30 a book, and I was like, I'll buy one, and if I get through it, I'll think about buying another one. So now I think the other ones are out of print or whatever.
See, I liked all of the characters. I loved Ito just for the fact of, I loved the turn where it was like, is it Sharin? Was like, I don't remember, you giving you permission to put her in our daughter's body. Like. I like that they basically touched on that more in the movie.
Well, I think in the cartoon it wasn't a thing at all.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
He didn't. I don't think he had a kid at all.
Yeah, it was just he found
Gally or whatever and put her back together as kind of like it's a cool project. Whereas they gave it weight in the Alita movie.
Yeah, but I mean he became fatherly towards her in the animation, but like the movie was so much more of a concise storyline of like basically her remembering and finding herself. Like I loved when she found the berserker fucking armor.
Oh yeah.
Like that was great. I loved the dichotomy of like what he knew what it was and him just being like, I'm not putting you in this.
Yeah.
Because you will lose your innocence.
Yeah. You'll be kind of like if I put you in this, who knows what you're going to do with it?
Right.
And it's like he kind of doesn't trust her to make her own choices.
Well,
which is, I mean, it's kind of what a parent's like. I mean, Dad, can I have a car? I don't know what the fuck you're going to do with a car. I'm not going to give you a car. It's like, Dad, I'm old enough. Give me a car. Like, you got to give me some trust. Like, give me this warrior body, please. This body that murders people. It's like, I don't know that I want to put you in that. Because if I put you in it, you're going to use it.
Well, she's like, basically, she's a nuclear missile without the warhead. She's like, I found the warhead. Please put it on. And he's like, I don't know if I want to do that. Because, I mean, that's essentially, it's lost tech. It's nanotech. Mm-hmm. But, like, I want to know more about, like, who made her? You know, I want to know more about, like, the Mars Project. I want to know why the Martians attacked and they were actually going after Zalem. Like, I want to know more about that. Mm-hmm. Amber and I went and saw this movie originally in the theater, and we loved it. We thought it was great.
I saw it twice in the theater.
James and I had a huge argument about this movie where he said the eyes were basically like the Uncanny Valley thing.
It's close.
Well, I mean, so it is so I was looking for it this time through.
You get used to it. And it reminds me of, I don't know if you remember seeing Avatar in the theater, but like human ears are down here. The, whatever they're called, the Pandorians, I don't remember what the race is called, but their ears are up here. And that bugged the shit out of me because it's not like, they're not at the top where cat ears are.
Right.
They're like between. So I had to get used to the fact that when you're looking at their face, their ears are off.
And they have like the little, almost like they're...
They move a little bit because they're kind of like pointy elfie-ish ears, but the ears are not where they're supposed to be on a human face.
Right.
So it just throws you off, despite the fact that everything else looks really good. You're looking at a human face that's slightly off.
Yeah.
Which I don't like. I mean, I kind of wish it was just Rosa, not Rosa CG to all shit.
Well,
but it's done okay, and the fact that they made all the people from Mars look like it, at least it's not a human face. It's the only thing that's human about her is her brain. Okay, I guess.
Yeah, but it's like the thing that I thought was odd about it was, Amber and I were talking about it tonight because I finished the cartoon a couple of days ago and then I finished the movie tonight.
Okay.
Because I had a very busy week this week, so I didn't have a lot of time to sit and watch movies. But I think the original argument that we had was like they wanted her to look like the Galley from the cartoon. Mm-hmm. She had big eyes. Mm-hmm. But then I think James Cameron was like, we need to give it a little bit more credibility than that because everyone in the cartoon had big eyes.
Yeah, well, that's how you draw anime characters. Like, you give them bigger eyes because...
They're good guys.
Yeah, well, it's more feminine. Mm-hmm. You can show more emotion in the eyes. It's easier to put like little eye water drops or whatever than to draw fully formed facial features and make someone emote. It's easier to make someone emote with big eyes, and that makes people look more innocent. Because that's why are puppies cute? Because they're just big old eyes on tiny little head. Why are babies cute? Big old eyes on a tiny little face. It makes something look younger and innocent.
Yeah, I think that the most basic thing back in the day was bad guys had angular eyes and good guys had round eyes. Plus, I think they also, like, America was, like, a big thing back then, so it's like they gave people great big eyes to make them look more American or whatever. That could be wrong.
I don't think that's true.
That could be old information that I had from back in the day, but I do remember someone telling me that at one time.
I think it's you make someone youthful and more energetic or whatever, you give them, like, bigger eyes. Like, when you've got, like, the young male protagonists, they tend to have bigger eyes, too, or whatever. And it's like they're full of piss and vinegar or whatever, and then you make, like, someone like Shirin or whatever. She had, like, smaller, more adult angular eyes, and because she was an adult or whatever. She was not. She didn't have the youth and the innocence.
Well, not only that, but she was kind of a bad guy.
Yeah, she was.
You know,
they kind of twist it a bit in the movie because in Gunnm she was a villain, and she got her comeuppance.
Oh yeah, she did.
In the movie, later the movie, they kind of gave her a redemption arc. They completed her story, and then she got screwed.
Yeah, but like So the one thing I'd like to comment right from the top is that when you watch Battle Angel Alita originally, like in the beginning of the movie, you think that you're going to get something cute, and then it gets violent really fucking fast.
Yeah.
And graphic. Like, it's pretty fucking graphic, some of the stuff they do. The movie, I loved because they also got kind of graphic in the movie as well. They didn't pull the punches.
Yeah, they never got as bad as it could have. Yeah. It's like they build up the dog a little bit more in the movie than in the anime. In the anime, the dog shows up, and then that dog gets fucked up.
And you see it.
Yeah, which might not be cool for some people. So if you're like, if you're a does the dog die? Yes.
Both versions.
Both versions. The anime's worse.
Yeah.
And the one in the movie was cuter. But it was off camera.
Yeah, and he was adorable. Yeah. He was an adorable little dog.
It's such a cute like little fucking scene where it like walks up to her and like barks at her and she's like, "Oh, you want some?" She just kind of gives him some food. She's like, "Can I hug you?"
Yeah. and then you even give it a little bit more of a gut punch where it was like, "That's the Packmaster," you know, and then like that was Jeff Fahey.
I don't know.
So remember the movie Lawnmower Man?
No.
Okay, well he's an older actor that he was the Lawnmower Man. Anyways,
I loved his character despite the fact that he was like in it this much.
Yeah, but like I liked how the little dog came over to like his dogs, and the other dogs were like sniffing at him. And then later on in one of the scenes when she's walking around talking to him, that dog is in his lap and he's just like scratching on it.
I think he walked out like when the dog walked him, he's like, "You want to be a whole hound?" He picks the dog up and just kind of he loves dogs.
But like when Grishka kills the dog and then they go below and she's like imploring them to help, like the only people who show up is Ito and the Packmaster. Yeah. And he was like, he didn't like dogs.
I hate that.
Yeah. Like I was just like, yeah, you go, boy. Yeah. But yeah, he was an inclusion that I do not believe that was in the cartoon.
Yeah, I don't even know if he was in the manga either.
I think he was just an inclusion. I think that the internet did us a huge disservice on this movie because this movie was amazing. It's very good. It's very, very good. I'd love to see a part 2 to it, but I don't think we're going to.
I hope we do. We might not. This came out at the same time as Captain Marvel. And because I remember going to see like Alita because it came out first, and I'm like, oh, I got to watch this, and like next week I'll get to go see Captain Marvel. I'm like super excited. And I went to see Captain Marvel. I'm like, oh. Okay, it's fine.
It had one good part.
It was fine. And then the next week I went to go watch Alita again. And around that time, people were like, "You just don't like Captain Marvel because of the female character." Well, there was this movie with an amazing fucking female character in it, who was still, I don't know, because a lot of times when Hollywood or whatever makes a badass female warrior, they give her masculine traits, and they say strength is masculine. And I don't think that's true for Alita because she's still graceful, feminine. She's
fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, she's straight up Spider-Man. Like, she's super agile and she's super strong only for the fact that she's got a cybernetic body that's made of nanotech from a lost fucking technology, at least in the James Cameron version. But, yeah, we got a huge disservice with this movie because it was great. The acting was great. She was so fucking adorable in this movie.
Yeah.
Like the first time she walked out, like I loved the first time she bit into an orange.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, you'll probably enjoy this a lot better without the peel. And she's like, oh my God, it's so amazing. And then she eats the chocolate. She's like, I've got a new favorite food.
Yeah.
Like the first time she walks out and she sees Zalem and she goes, wow.
Yeah, it's everyone else, like with Hugo or whatever. He's like, man, Hugo walks out and looks at Iron City and he's like, fucking Iron City's awful. The first time Alita sees Iron City, she's like, this is amazing. Look at all these people. And she's just looking at things through a new set of eyes where everything is fucking amazing and wonderful. And she's just like a positive, uplifting attitude you'd want in your life. You want that person where you're always pessimistic, whatever, and they're just looking at like the good things and you'd be like, oh, that's cute.
You're 100% right. I want to know how she got in the trash. That's the biggest thing. Like you said that they wrapped up like a lot of the storylines, but like they never really touched on that, like why she fell from Zalem.
Yeah.
You know, like I want to know why. I want to know if what's his name?
Nova.
I want to know if Nova had her originally.
I wonder if I don't know. I've never read past this volume, and I've never really looked into it too much. But my guess, based on maybe clues, is that like maybe she's been destroyed for a long time and she's been a trophy piece.
See, my guess is that Nova captured her in the... I'm guessing they failed in their attempt to take over fucking the planet.
Yeah.
Or taking down Zalem. But my guess is that she was captured technology that Nova couldn't fucking figure out.
It could be.
So I guess he was just like, I can't figure it out. I can't replicate what's going on with her. So he basically just threw her away. And then Ito gets a hold of her and he's just like, well, I'm the fucking best at building these things, so...
It's just she had, I guess, her brain and like her core or whatever were kind of like the technology, because he said like, oh, your heart can power Iron City.
Yeah, for years.
Yeah,
and then
then he's got it powering like his daughter's little body or whatever.
Yeah, and even then, she was able to like pimp the fuck out of that body. Like it wasn't designed to be fucking Spider-Man, and
it looked like it was made of porcelain.
Yeah, well, see, that was the other thing that I really dug about the movie is like when she got sliced, she looked fucking awesome. The way she was holding herself up, like when she punched,
like when she fell down to the one hand and like came
and was
back
bouncing
up
herself, and then did the spring and fucking I'm gonna stick my hand in your fucking eye, like that was all so good, all of it. There was not a point in this movie where I was like, I don't want to watch this movie. We watched it originally in theater. It was the last time I saw it, and then we watched it for this viewing. And like as I was watching this movie, I was like, why haven't I watched this movie again before now?
I think it's my 4th or 5th time watching this movie. I love this movie.
It's super fantastic.
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran, not Ed Sheeran, Skeen, the fucking dude who played Francis in Deadpool.
Oh, Zapan.
Like he was such a fucking devious fuck.
Oh, I liked him.
Yeah, but like he was just he was such a unlikable bad guy.
Oh yeah, it's the guy that gets all this money beating the shit out of people and spends it on his face. And like I even liked his back tattoo because or not tattoo or whatever, but like did you see the
sculpt?
The sculpture on his back was kind of like Incan or whatever, like those Incan calendars where it's kind of like circular or whatever. I'm like, that's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah. Like he dropped all of his money because he even had like the fucking
the
little goatee bar. It looked like a fucking hood ornament on his chin or whatever. Like he was such a likable asshole.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of this movie?
I don't know. I have to think about that one. Did you have a favorite part?
I did. The first time she plays motorball, like she gets there to like the qualifiers, she's like, "Hey guys, take it easy on me," and they're like, "Yeah, kid," and then that's when fucking Ito comes across and he's like, "It's a trap. You need to get out of there. They're trying to kill you." And she's like, "Which one?" He's like, "All of them." And then she looks up and down the line.
They're all looking at her.
Yeah, they're all looking at her, and then she looks behind her at the fucking big dudes, and they're like, and still she was like, "All right, let's fucking go."
Yeah, the motorball scene was pretty cool. I don't know. My favorite part might be like the first time she wakes up.
Oh, and like she's like
she like kind of like yawn, like she is waking up. You kind of see her stirring. She like yawns, holds up a hand, and she's like, "Shit, I got a hand." And then she kind of like looks at her body and just kind of like, "Shit, I'm alive."
Yeah,
and I'm like, that was cute.
Yeah, and she does the whole cheek thing in the mirror. Like, that the chick in this movie,
Rosa Salazar.
Yeah, she's adorable, and like one of the. I can't remember what it was, but there was a meme that came out of this where it was like, why can't I have a woman like this in my life? And it was like Alita. And like Rosa was like, hey. And he's like, no. And she's like, I am literally the girl in that movie.
Yeah. That's a meme.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't real.
Yeah, she didn't say that. But it's the meme of, why can't I have a person like this? Then that person responds and they're like,
no.
And it's like, I am that person.
Yeah. That was the first time I encountered that particular build on that meme. And I thought it was fucking hilarious. Yeah. But she's great, and I don't know if I've seen her in anything since.
I don't. Yeah, I've not really.
And I can't look it up on my phone because you're doing this course.
Yeah. Which I guess is what I think is amazing. Like when you look at Alita, and then you look at Rosa, you're like, oh, I see it.
It was great casting.
I just mean like the face. Like the CG is so good that even though they've kind of morphed it to that sort of face, you can still see that it's Rosa.
There's nothing bad about this movie. Which is, and I know a lot of people are like, I don't like the eyes, they didn't go see it for the eyes. If that was your reason for not going to see this movie, you're fucking missing out. Because this was an outstanding movie. The fact that this did not get a part 2 immediately is a fucking crime.
Yeah.
But like...
It's versus, why is it a 9 versus like a 10 for me or whatever? It's just like some of the small things. Like you say, like you've still got questions, they're not answered. Whereas if maybe if this was a trilogy and it was finished, maybe the first movie would be like a 10 or whatever. Because at that point in time... I know everything, and I can kind of piece it all together, see that they had a plan.
Well, one of the things that bothers me about the movie is when she was going up there with Hugo up the line and they were dropping the defense, Hugo didn't make it over, and she did. And then, like, if you really want to kill Nova that bad, just keep hopping over those fucking things till you get to the top.
Well, it starts like this.
Yeah, and then it
gets to, like, you're not hopping over shit at that point.
But you're using, like, your super fucking bionicle body. Like she can literally like twist herself and do crazy shit and get like crazy ups with this body.
But I mean, when you're going ups, the only kind of ups you get are outs.
Sure, I mean but I mean if you looked at it, the outside of the tube had cuts in it where I'm guessing as the fucking ring slid down, it was like rifling on a barrel where it would start spinning and get velocity.
Yeah,
so there should have been handholds there. So I don't know, like that bothered me. But then I liked the way they did it, where it's like the only way you get up the Zalem is if you become like the champion of rollerball. So that's exactly what the fuck she was doing, and I loved that when she'd play, they had the scene of like Nova looking down, like watching her, and then that you have to have him take off the glasses so you can see it's Edward Norton, even though you could totally fucking see it with the glasses.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like she points the fucking Damascus sword like up at him. Like, she's just like, I'm fucking coming to get you. You know? I don't know what the next movie is going to look like if they do a second movie, but I do know that I'll be there open fucking weekend.
Oh, I thought of another scene I really liked. It was her facing off with Nova, but as Mahershala Ali. So it was Nova taking over Vector.
Oh.
And just like when she's like, you've lost a puppet, and stabs him, he's like, oh, that looks painful.
Yeah, that looks fatal.
That looks fatal.
Yeah, that was good. Because I also liked he was still talking normal as the body's stuck and dying. And
yeah, it's like the body is dying, but Nova's just kind of like, I'm not dying. I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's just that kind of like, I'm immortal, I'm bored.
Yeah, you're a plaything to me.
Yeah, it's when you live forever. What is there left for me to do but to play with my puppets, play with my toys?
Well, it's like she took a puppet away, but it's like literally he said, "I see everything." So it's like he's looking through fucking everything. I thought it was weird the bounty system, where like the bounty system in the cartoon looks super racist. Like the robots in the thing.
Yeah, I don't like the little robot. Whereas in the movie they make them look a little bit better.
Yeah, like at least it's like a steel face.
Yeah, as opposed to what looks like a man in a wrapped around a cylindrical tube face or whatever. I don't like that.
It looks super cartoony. I thought it was interesting where I think in the cartoon where in the anime where they turn in the fucking head and he's kind of like, you can get more money if the spine was attached.
Yeah,
and like I was like, why? And then.
Did you miss that bit? In the anime, it says spines are the only thing that robotics can't replicate. So the people that were going out were stealing, like what Hugo was doing in the movie was stealing spines.
Okay.
Not just parts. So that makes in the anime Hugo is fucking awful, and I don't like him. At least like when you watch the movie, he's taking like I took the rollerball champion's arm. He can go get another arm. Versus I took this man's spine. We can't replicate spines. You get to be spineless now, man. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I think they took that last guy, the one that Zapan killed. I think they were taking his spine.
Well, in the movie, they could replicate spines.
Oh. Okay, well, there's that. But.
Or whatever, because it wasn't that. It was not, or at least it was never brought up that you like if spines weren't this super vital thing. Because Alita was just a brain.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I think she had kind of like the top because like it was like her shoulders and like.
Well, she was that, but the only bits of her that are human was her brain.
Right. Yeah, like she looked like the fucking Borg queen.
Yeah.
Like your shoulders and then like this part right here, and then they stuck her in the body and like I loved how the daughter's body had like all that intricate fucking
filigree or whatever.
Yeah, it looked really cool. And then she gets her other body and then it's like. It's adapting to like look what her mental image of herself is. That's fucking dope.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and then like when she gets stuck in the side by fucking
Grishka.
Yeah, Grishka, and then
and like nanotech heals.
Fucking fills in. I was just like, man, she's unstoppable.
Yeah, at this point in time, she's unstoppable.
Yeah, and it's just, oh my god, it was so good, and that's why I don't know what they're gonna do with the other movie. Like, she is literally a level 25 character, like fucking with people who are like level 10 at best. Maybe
down there, but like when she gets up to Zalem, it's got to be because presumably the next movie is her, fucking off to Zalem. But I don't. Like I said, I've read some of this volume. I've not read much else. I don't know what comes up. I know that there's 9 volumes of Battle Angel Alita, and then later they came out with like a Battle Angel Alita like Last Order, and that one's got like a bunch of volumes. But I'm kind of curious about what goes on within it. I've watched after I finished the movie, I watched on like when you buy a movie, it's got a code in it, and you like redeem the code.
For a digital copy?
For a digital copy. Sure. I was watching that version of it, and after the movie finished, it's like, it's going to roll into some of the special features. I'm like, oh, fuck it. So I watched a bunch of special features for Battle Angel Alita, and some of the ones that they went over was them explaining the world a little bit.
Okay.
Where it was kind of like, Mars had all this shit over here, Earth had like this shit over here, and Mars is kind of like going out exploring. Like, there was some big plague thing, too, which is why kind of like the war stopped. Is some plague came and wiped out most of humanity to the point where they're like, we're just going to come together and live in. They had it in Central America, whereas in like the anime, it was probably in Kansas City, Missouri. Cameron put it closer to the equator because there was a space elevator, and if you want a space elevator, it's got to be near the equator. But did you notice that Zalem, the reason why it's floating is it's held up by the space elevator?
I did not notice that.
And that little tube that used to go to the ground used to be the space elevator.
And then they broke it off so people couldn't get up?
Or I don't know why it broke off. Either it blew up or they broke it off during the fight. But now they use the space elevator to dump their trash down on Iron City.
And I thought that was interesting. Like, everything in Iron City is basically trash from up there. Because I loved when Hugo pointed out the fact where she's like, yeah, he found me in the dump. And he's like, that must mean that you were at Zalem.
You were there, you saw it.
Yeah. And he's like, you just don't remember it. But then all of her memories that come back is just basically her trying to take the fucking place down.
Yeah.
I also liked the way that the other Battle Angels looked in her memories. Like the girl with the multicolored fucking like mohawk.
I don't remember the one that was Michelle Rodriguez. I didn't really see the other.
They all looked very common. They almost looked like maybe they cloned people on Mars or something like that, because they all looked very similar.
Well, I mean, the only thing real about them is the brain anyway, so maybe they just mass-produced bodies or something.
They print them.
Yeah, maybe.
Meat prints. Who knows?
I don't know.
I need to know more.
Yes, I would. Would you like to know more?
Yes. Yes. Oh, and I need to show you that video, too, when we're done with this.
Which one?
Somebody put out a theory that in Starship Troopers, in the beginning, where Denise Richards' character and, like, the guy that she ends up hooking up with instead of Johnny Rico, when they're, like, flirting with each other, and the fucking comet that almost hits the ship, and they, like, avert down, and it bounces off the top of the ship. And then later on, you find out that a fucking asteroid hits.
So is it... When it hit, it diverted to Earth.
Some people think that maybe
it would have missed.
Yeah, it would have missed, but it diverted the fucking thing to, and then they were like, bugs are attacking, and it was like, nah, they like that's a theory. And then like when they like wrote it out, I sent the video to James, and James like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
but I would like to think that a movie like Starship Troopers did not think that deep about it.
I don't know.
But who knows? Because I mean, that's a 1 in quadrillion fucking thing. It's like, it's just a fucking asteroid like floating around in space that bounces off this fucking ship and goes straight to fucking Earth. It's still fun to think about though. But we're not talking about Starship Troopers. But yeah, this movie is awesome.
Yeah.
The acting in it is amazing.
Yep.
Every fucking character in this movie is great.
And I think they make them a lot more likable versus the anime too. So Ito's fine in the anime, but
he's kind of a throwaway character.
But they flesh him out and make him like give him a whole fucking arc in the movie. Yugo in the movie kind of sucked.
Hi, Alita. He's like, I'm super happy fucking guy, and then you find out he's like pulling spines, and it's just like,
he sucks.
Yeah, it was an about face on that.
Whereas I like his introduction in the movie was kind of like, he sees like, because he doesn't like hard bodies as they call them, but he meets Alita, and she's like, oh, she's kind of cool, and like, oh, I've been to Zalem, and now he's like, she knows Zalem, and that's why he's interested in her, and it kind of gives like that sort of, she's not just somebody that Ito picked up out of the trash. He's like, oh, she's seen Zalem, like my favorite thing. Whereas like anime version of him is like, fuck you, I just want to go to Zalem, and he sucked. And she's like, man, I love you. He's like, nah, I love Zalem, so fuck you. And it's like he didn't have a character arc really.
Well, so his character was still kind of terrible in the movie. Like,
a little bit.
He was fine, but it's like, you can't fall in love with the thing that you're basically dismembering in the street.
Yeah. But they have him. We see him do it once. Presumably he's been doing it more because man's got to eat or whatever. And presumably he wants to get to Zalem, and like this is the way to get money. Yeah. But like he meets Alita, and he's kind of like, well, she's seen Zalem or whatever, and he goes through the arc of like falling for her, and then he's like, I can't. I've been looking at these people like cyborgs, or like they're not real people. They're real people. I need to stop doing this, to the point where he walks up to whatever the guy's name was. I don't remember, his friend. He's like, I'm out.
Well, I think his turning point was when he saw the claws in Grishka. And he's like, this guy wants this item. And then they showed up on this fucking dude who's trying to kill the girl I dig.
Yeah.
So that's when he was just like, I'm done.
Yeah, I thought I was just, I see what I'm doing. I'm like, this isn't good.
Yeah. I mean, he has a good arc, but it's still kind of like at the end of the movie, Ito saves his life, and the first thing he does is head for the fucking tubes because he's wanted. You know?
It's like, at least, in In the anime, he's like, oh, Zalem's not real. You can't go to Zalem. And he's like, fuck it, I'm going to walk up to Zalem. And he's just fucking climbing up. At least in this one, he's wanted, I can't stay down here. She was able to convince him, like, we'll run away together. Like, we don't have to go to Zalem to be free from the wanted thing. We can stay together. And he was like, okay. And that's when the thing hit. So he was he was not going to go to Zalem. She convinced him. In the anime, she didn't convince him of the shit.
So I think that in the anime, the scene of him falling was more impactful. Because there was more emoting, like there was more on the face of like when his arm was separating and he was falling apart. And then I think they pulled the punch in the movie version because he falls to the fog. Instead of like watching him like basically take the long fall.
He still hit the fog in the anime, I think.
Maybe
not.
It seemed like it was almost immediate in the movie.
It was much quicker in the movie, and he disappears in the fog real quick.
I still thought he looked cool, like when he was all bisected and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Cut in half and he's kind of falling. And at the only point in that movie is the only thing that was real on him was his fucking head. You're not rescuing anything of that. That dude is fucking dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, oh my God. We got robbed. I don't know if it was COVID. I don't know if it was just shitty people that didn't like the eyeballs. We got robbed of a good movie.
Yeah, this movie's good.
Yeah. And if you don't want to watch it because of the eyes, you're literally picking the wrong reasons not to watch it.
Yeah, it's the wrong hill to die on. Because that's kind of where I was too, where they were putting out the previews, and I'm like, I don't like the eyes, but I'm still going to see it because it's Alita. I want to. They're making an Alita movie. I'm going to go see the Alita movie.
Right.
And I got over the eyes eventually.
That's what James and I went out. So in the lab one day, James got a job at the college, and we were sitting in the lab one day, and I was like, does anybody want to go see Alita? And he's like, those fucking eyes, man. He's like, I'm not going to go see it because of those eyes. And we got into like a 20-minute debate. And I don't remember what we were talking about, but apparently it got so good that all the techs basically came into the tech room and just kind of sat down, and one of them started recording us talking about it. And that was when we were in the beginning of talking about doing this series, and I was like, you need to come over and we need to talk about this stuff. Me, you, and Nick, we need to have these debates. But I remember going to see it, and I was just like, I went back, and James was like, what'd you think? And I was like, it was great. And he goes, even with the eyeballs? I was like, even with the eyeballs. I was like, that shit is like super easy to get over in the beginning. However, this time I was watching rather closely, and I think it's because you lose some of the expressionism in the eyes, because they're just kind of so big and looking around, and sometimes they feel detached away from her face. So like when she would smile, or like whatever emotion that she was like putting on the lower half of her face, sometimes the eyes felt far and away.
Yeah, because they kind of shrunk the rest of her face and made the eyes a little bit bigger.
Yeah, and so I was noticing that this time around.
Yeah, I mean it's also a full CG character. You're going to notice some bits and bobs when the face is emoting, but for the most part, it's really good.
I'd like to see what they could do with it now. Because like Avatar was a good movie.
I still haven't seen Way of the Water.
So I watched it the other day.
Okay.
It's gorgeous.
Okay.
So his whole thing about the technology's not right or whatever, the technology's fucking there. Because the characters look really good. The CG in that movie was fantastic. So I would love to see what he could do with Alita 2.
Yep.
Because like, to me, the special effects in that movie, spot on.
Yes. This movie's gorgeous. I love this movie.
Go see the fucking movie.
It's real. And so Lance like wanted to watch True Grit, and he's like, next time you'll get to pick. And I'm like, we can watch Alita, and secretly being, I want to talk about this movie. That's why I picked this one, because this is I've said before, I don't necessarily want to pick movies where I'm like this one, like where it's obvious. Whereas this one for me is like, the anime's fine. I like the anime. It's 2 episodes of something bigger, so you kind of feel all the holes that are missing. Things happen real quick because it's an hour. You can. It's okay. It's good. It's got the bones of the shit I like. Whereas the movie is like fucking amazing. And I was worried that sitting down and just talking about it would be me gushing about the movie, not so much about the anime. And that's mostly what this episode has been. Me talking about the movie, because the movie's fucking good. I love the movie, and the anime's okay.
I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think part of what killed this movie is it wasn't the anime. And honestly, I was fine with that, because the anime didn't give you as much information. In the anime, she was just a chick that had a really cool fucking body, and they didn't go into it any more than that.
And it's like he built the body, because she had nothing.
Right.
At least in the movie, like, the body she gets is like the Berserker body. It is part of her future tech or whatever.
And not only that, but she basically knows Panzerkunst, which is like the fucking martial arts form
Yeah,
or whatever.
I don't think they talk about that in
Nope.
the anime, do they?
Never
I
came
think
up.
I think it's in the manga. It's not like in the anime, and that was really interesting. Like, why is she so fucking? Why is she kicking ass? Because she's got the Panzerkunst martial arts, like, just in her memory.
Yeah, she's basically like Teräs Käsi in Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
It's a form that like hardly anybody fucking knows, but if you know it, you're an ass kicking chicken.
Yeah. It's like, great, you're a gigantic ass bulky man, but your shoulders right here, not so strong.
Yeah.
And just put a little bit of pressure right there, snaps all that shit right off.
And I love that. Like when she fought him the second time, she even went for the shoulder again.
Yeah,
and he was just like watching it spark, and he's like,
yeah, no.
I'm gonna fucking murder you now. And even that looked great. Like the way that was one of my favorite scenes is when he shot the fingers and she was going up the middle.
Yeah, going up the middle, and they all kind of like spiral close
they
around
constrict
her.
in. Yeah, and like basically blender her ass. But yeah, it was. Oh, and the rocket hammer. How fucking cool is that?
Yeah, the
shit?
rocket hammer's good. I mean, there's a lot of shit we've not like. Mahershala Ali's great for the small role he's been given. Like that, I want to rule in hell rather than serve in heaven. That's good shit. They make Sheeran better. I think they make Hugo. They make everything better. And like Rollerball was fun to watch.
It was awesome. It was straight up. What's the fucking roller derby? And, you know, where it's like instead of you having a ball to throw around in fucking roller derby, it's just you who can be at the front of the line kind of a thing.
So what I think the rules are is there's either teams or solo, and when whoever has the ball, because there's like these rings on the match, when you go through the ring holding the ball, you score a point. So the point is to hold onto the ball and try to race through as many rings as you can while you've got control of the ball to score points for your team.
Oh, but it's also like the golden snitch thing. If you're the last man standing at the end of the thing, you just win anyways.
Maybe. But the teams were supposed to be, I guess there was like, there's people off field. So like if someone gets destroyed, they can put another team member in.
Sure.
And then that person goes and gets like fixed up or whatever. But I guess if you just completely and utterly destroy the other team, maybe you win.
Yeah, but like it's so the announcer, when they were doing the practice or the trials or whatever, like they make it a point to show you that the ball rolls off the fucking field and no one's going for it, and the announcer's like, "Oh, looks like she's in trouble."
No, yeah, I
like,
guess it's free reign at this point.
Yeah, they didn't. It's like he didn't give a shit. He was just kind of marveled by the look at them fucking each other up.
Yeah.
And not only were they like destroying their bodies, but like she's straight up crushing heads and shit. You know, like she was just murdering motherfuckers out there, and everyone was just cool with it.
Yep.
You know, so. But I thought it was neat, and I loved how the Hugo was in trouble, and she's like, "All right, I'm fucking dipping," and then they go after her, and then the guy's like, "I've never seen anything like this," you know, like they were fucking into it.
Yeah.
But like I can imagine being in that ring where it's like, "Oh man, oh she's kicked in the face, oh man, okay." They went through the sign.
I guess we're done.
Are they coming back? You got some other people you can put out there? Yeah, like that night ended abruptly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the movie's just fucking dope.
The movie's so good.
So go watch the fucking movie.
Speaking of how good, on IMDb, what do you think the anime Gunnm is in star rating?
6-7.
7.2. 0.5 off. That's pretty good. What do you think Alita Battle Angel the movie is?
On Rotten Tomatoes?
No, now the movie on IMDb.
See, I want to judge it harshly because I know a bunch of fucking had fucking access to it, but I'm gonna say 6.7,
which is what you gave the other one, right? That's 7.3. So
pretty close.
7.2,
and then 7.3,
and then 7.3.
Interesting.
So I think people on IMDb are giving the movies equal numbers.
Okay.
For the most part. So if we go over to Rotten Tomatoes, there is a Gunnm audience score. There's not a critic score.
Okay.
So what do you think the audience gave the anime of Gunnm?
74.
82%. It's pretty close.
Okay.
Like 8 away. That's not bad.
Price is Right rules I didn't go over.
Yeah. It's closest. Let's see. Alita Battle Angel. Come on, Internet. You can load. I believe in you. The Internet does not believe in me.
No.
I had everything else pulled up, and the one thing I had to load into is the one that's going to take a second. All right. So, The critics score for Alita Battle Angel, the movie. What would you think the critics gave Alita?
61.
You nailed that 100%.
Did I?
It's 100. It's 61%.
I knew it would probably have to be like just over being fresh, but like on the verge of being bad. So
it's technically fresh. It's 61%.
Nice.
But now, what does the audience give Alita Battle Angel?
I think that they would give it more. So I'll say 7.2.
So 72.
Yes.
92.
92.
92. And I'm more inclined to agree with the audience on IMDb. Or not on Rotten Tomatoes. 92%, that's probably where this movie is. It's a good fucking movie.
Do me one more favor before we leave.
Mm-hmm.
Find out what the fucking gross box office was on this movie. Because like I can't find a reason why they wouldn't make another movie. That right there, the audience saying that 92% of people liked it.
Yeah, seriously.
That should have been enough to dictate that people will come and see your movie. But like I'm wondering if if this was at the beginning of COVID or something or
That was 2009.
2009.
2019. Sorry, 2019.
Okay, well we didn't really know what COVID was until 2020.
Yeah.
So
I think I'll double check. Let me make sure I'm not feeding you incorrect information. But
hi, I'll waste time while he.
I'll just have to go back to IMDb. It's 2019.
Yeah. But yeah, we didn't know what COVID was, at least in the populace at that point.
So, do you want worldwide or do you want what it got in America and Canada?
America first and then worldwide.
So, America and Canada was 85.8 million.
Okay.
For a total of 405 million.
Oh, so that's international?
Yeah, that's worldwide.
405? Does it
so
say
319.1 million in other countries.
Does it say how much they made it for?
Against a production budget of 170 million.
It's a profit.
Production budget. I don't know if that includes marketing.
Oh.
But so it's probably less, but it's what do you put 30 million into marketing, so you still made 200 million. That's reason to make another one.
So if it makes its price and price again, like if it doubles what you put into it, that's usually considered a success.
Mm-hmm.
Like
so with a production budget of 107 million and a worldwide of 405 million, I think America, they didn't make their money back in America.
Yeah, because Americans are apparently fucking like I don't get why we hate on good movies.
I don't know. I wonder what the box office.
Did we do a review of Uncharted?
We did.
Like that movie was fucking good.
It was okay. I liked it. I remember it definitely being better than I was expecting because it was a video game movie and I didn't give it much chance.
I thought it was great.
But it came out at the same time as Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what Captain Marvel grossed worldwide?
Are we doing IMDb or are we doing...
grossed worldwide.
Oh, grossed worldwide. It's a Marvel movie, so I don't think it cracked $1 billion. Let's just say 800 million.
It cracked $1 billion. 1.1 billion for Captain Marvel, which was out at the same time as this movie, which 405. So I think
this movie stole some of its thunder.
I think Captain Marvel stole some of Alita's thunder.
You don't take on Marvel movies on opening weekend. Like that's foolish.
Yeah.
But so
I think that's why the movie didn't do quite as good. It came out like a week before. What does it have? Does it have the release date? February 14th in 2000 and February 14th, so Valentine's Day, 2019. Hey dear, do you want to go see a movie with robots fighting for Valentine's Day? No.
It's a love story, I promise.
It is. It's a teenage love story. I guess, yeah, it's in the U.S. and it came out first in London on January 31st. And then Captain Marvel was February 27th.
It was okay.
So a week after it came out, they had Captain Marvel. And they were in the theaters at the same time. You had a Marvel movie with a female lead competing with an unknown with a female lead. I think that stole a lot of its thunder.
Captain Marvel still had one of the best scenes in it.
Which scene?
The Stanley scene.
No, that was good. That was a good Stanley.
I fucking loved it.
It was good.
That was such a good.
It was.
That was such a good mod that they went back to the 80s and then had him reading the script to Mallrats.
Or the 90s.
Yeah, like I thought that was so fucking good. And then the way he looked at him was like, and smiled at him. I was like,
yeah, it was good.
Dude, I got to be honest with you. When I saw that part, I was like,
no, it's because he had like very, very recently passed away.
Yeah. He didn't have much of a... He was rehearsing his lines on the subway. She pulls back the script. He smiles at her. And then I just like how she's like...
She smiles back.
And she smiles back at him.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and then she punches an old woman in the face. I loved that part, too.
That part was fun.
Yeah, that movie was fun.
It's okay. I did like Captain Marvel, but it came out like... Where Captain Marvel's probably like a 6 or a 7 for me. Like, on the heels of a movie that's a 9 for me. Where it's like, Alita. I'm like, I've been waiting for more Alita shit for fucking years. Like, whenever we play, like, a game in which I can be a cyborg, I'm trying to make Alita. Not, like, directly, but I want to be, like, a full Borg. I want to be a brain and a bot.
You know what bothers me about Captain Marvel? Is every time I see her, I'm like, Carol Danvers is dead. She's Rogue. She gets sucked up into Rogue.
No, she doesn't die. She goes comatose, too.
Yeah, but, like, she gets pulled into Rogue.
Yes, but eventually she comes back.
Sure, but, like, she's just there now, and she's the most powerful. Eventually, they're going to introduce the X-Men. Like, what are they gonna do with Rogue?
I hope Rogue sucks Captain Marvel, so she's like the 90s cartoon.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I mean, she was just basically a power stealer, and then all of a sudden
Then we can have Monica Rambeau be Captain Marvel.
I'd be fine with that.
Because Monica Rambeau was Captain Marvel. She was Captain Marvel before Carol Danvers.
They're doing a weird version. Like, I don't like that they are calling in the... We're not talking about Marvel movies. I'll stop it. I'll stop.
Yeah, we stayed on theme for most of the thing, talking about just Alita Battle Angel.
I just want to say that I don't like that they're calling the MCU fucking 616 now.
They're not.
You're saying that. But...
No, I've seen other things with it. Like, in some of the other Spider-Verse movies, they don't call that one. They say, like... They make reference to the one with Doctor Strange, and they don't call it 616. It's 199999 is the movie multiverse.
Okay. She says it in the fucking Doctor Strange movie. You come from the universe 616. But was she talking to a comic book version of him?
But that's what they say about in that universe. In our universe, we've labeled the universes. In their universe, they can label the universes whatever the fuck they want.
She was wrong.
Correct. She was wrong.
Okay.
But she was right for where she's from. But she's wrong for where we're from.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
If like Star Trek, we name certain areas like the Alpha Quadrant, the Beta Quadrant.
Yeah, and they show up and they name that one the Beta Quadrant. We're like, no, that's the Alpha Quadrant. It's quick rewriting.
Yeah, no, we call that quadrant the Zabalabala.
We call that the A1.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I rescind my comment.
But that bugged me then too, because they were incorrect. But I think it was more of like a, check it out, Marvel fans. We know.
Yeah, we said 616, so everyone can go, ooh, and then the other half of people were like, what the fuck?
So you got most people who went over their heads, and then you got some people who were like, yay, and some people were like, boo.
You had the people in the theater who were like, he said it, he fucking said it, and the other half of people like spike their fucking popcorn. They're like, fuck this movie, I'm out.
You're not 616.
But see, I did that too when I was watching it in the theater, and she was like, "You're from the, you're from 616," and I was like,
"No, you're not."
Nah, bro.
It's like, no, you're not.
Nah,
you're not from 616.
No. If you weren't from 616, you'd know who the X-Men were. You'd know all that shit. You wouldn't just see Xavier and be like, "Yeah, fucking Xavier."
Yeah.
Nah, bro.
Okay, so we've talked about Alita Battle Angel a lot. Mm-hmm. We've made nods to obviously, I think we both agree, Alita Battle Angel superior in all ways to the anime.
Yes.
But it's not necessarily the anime's fault. It was 2 episodes.
It's not the anime's fault for the fact that they didn't go into the extended. Plus, like, Alita's just so cute.
Yeah. In
the anime version until she decides she wants to fucking kill somebody. And then she goes back to being cute.
Yeah, and it's like murder time. Like, I'd say we're already past where the anime is. And I'm not halfway through the first book. I think, the anime was this much. If that helps, like here's the anime, whereas the movie goes over much more. You can't.
Yeah, I saw pictures.
It's not the anime's fault.
I saw pictures of Nova, where it was like this is what Nova looked like in the anime, and I was like, oh, well, apparently there's more episodes, but apparently we're talking about the mangas.
Yeah.
So, all right, go see the movie.
Yes, if you could track down the movie, it's fucking. If you like cyberpunk and you like just good, like every character's fucking good. Mm-hmm. I think some of them are maybe underutilized. But that doesn't make the character bad. Like you could have built on Vector more, but he was good. He was a good villain.
He was there to do what he was there to do.
No, he was there as kind of like what you think is a mastermind, but is kind of the puppet.
Yeah.
But he's okay with it because maybe he's only like maybe you got Zalem up here, but he's here, which is above everything in Iron City.
Yeah, he's running the lines. He's running the stuff that goes up the lines to the fucking city.
It's like, I don't know if you've played stuff with matchmaking or whatever before, where you're at the top of one grade. You're like, I'm the best in this grade. But then you go to the next one, and now you're the worst at this grade because everyone's beating the crap out of you.
It's like One Punch Man.
No, is that?
Or he was at the bottom of the fucking thing, then he clawed his... He wasn't even the top of, like, the low grade. But he was still, like, destroying everything he came up against, but, like, nobody talked about it. So, that might be something I might ask you to watch. Have you watched One Punch?
Yeah. The first season, at least.
Second season was actually pretty good.
Okay. I didn't like the first season.
I did.
I got bored of the premise. Because, I mean, the premise is a joke. But then it's the same joke.
Well, so I liked what he was calling his powers. Like, whenever people were like, Super King Fist, go! And he was like...
Consecutive regular punches.
Yeah. Punch, regular punch, serious.
Yeah.
And, like, I thought that was funny. But personally, I like the joke, and then they go more into Saitama in the second season. But we're not talking about that shit.
So, thank you for joining us for this month's episode of Old School or New School. Later in this month, if you're like, man, I wish these guys were talking about anime, maybe that's a thing that'll happen. So we've got a fifth Monday this month. Maybe we'll jam something special in there.
Yeah, Amber, throw what you'd like to see us review down there.
That's how I imagine we'll discuss between ourselves. And if you're interested in us talking about anime, that is a thing that might happen. If it's not as interesting, we'll still be doing movies.
We're trying to find our audience, and we've noticed that some of our videos lately have been getting more than 8 views.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully we're actually starting to get out there. We'd appreciate it if you would like mention us to some of your friends and be like, look at these two fats. Go watch them just to talk about movie and be fat.
Yep.
It's fine. Whatever you want to do. We appreciate you coming and we appreciate you watching our videos. We're not going to ask you for money.
No.
Yet. But, just thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for watching our videos.
Yeah. And let us know what you think of Alita Battle Angel. Did you see it when it came out? Were you like on board immediately? Did you watch it, or were you kind of like, did you bounce off it because the eyes are Uncanny Valley?
Yeah.
I mean, did we convince you to watch it? It's a good movie.
And then just come back to us and give us your rating.
Yeah, let us know.
And tell us what your favorite anime is.
Yeah,
we'd like to know.
That's good too. Give us some of your recommendations, because he's old school. I guess I'm old school. He's older school. It's probably the more apt way to put it. Because I'm like 90s aughts. You're more like 80s, early 90s maybe.
86 was when I saw my first anime. My first anime was The Dirty Pair.
Yeah.
The episodic series. Oh my god, I got the hots for K. Anyways, all right.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Bye, everybody.
See ya.